on the friggin' Stoke.
It was way steeper, the runs were way longer.
Dude, Revy's insane. We linked up with local shredder Casey Brown.
I felt that I needed to send something from the mulch onto dirt.
You must be crazy.
I am crazy. Well, I had to get redemption after the Whistler experience.
Yeah, oh shit.
We departed Big White and set off for the final destination of the trip, Revelstoke.
I got behind the wheel of the RV and it was tough. It was not easy to drive that thing.
All right, Kaz's first roundabout. Will we clip the curb? Oh, this is a nice roundabout.
Big radius. Is he gonna stop?
Oh, no RV etiquette. White van. Wow, you made it. But along the way, as this crew does, we got distracted because we saw that there was some go-karts in Salmon Arm and we knew we had to make a stop.
Salmon Arm go-karts, where they got an outdoor track and these high-performance go-karts, which are actually sick.
It was a good little fun break in the driving to be able to have some friendly competition.
In the first race, I did I think a 180-degree spin or a 90-degree spin. And I just look over and Alonso's coming straight at me, full speed. Really shocked me and still kind of hurting.
Ollie ended up getting fastest lap of the week for this time. So I got to right on the board. He was stoked on that.
Well, the biggest highlight for me of the go-karting was actually just seeing Dave going around the wrong way. He spun out on the corner and then instead of just turning in kind of a small area, he just started driving the wrong way. He's going the wrong way.
I completely botched it. I spun around. I got a nickname, Wrong Way Wiggins, which I do not appreciate. But you know what? That's life.
The treats at the Salmon Arm go-kart were equally as awesome as the go-karting. Matt went forth and got some nice shaved ice, and I was like, oh, that looks pretty good. And then I spotted this thing called a Rainbow Road. And then we threw down, baby.
It was boiling hot, so we actually went for a dip in the lake right after, which was amazing. It made me feel like summertime.
Just being out here, nice warm lake, oh, it was actually delightful.
I have to say Revelstoke is probably one of my favorite towns in BC. I just love the scenery here. You're in between the Monashees and the Selkirks. It's a small town. I think the population's under 10,000.
Downtown core is just this really nice vibe, kind of old town sort of thing with this new edge to it. A lot of nice restaurants and things like that.
I've heard that Revelstoke has amazing food, so I was very excited to eat here.
Just give me the nug.
I was really surprised how close the resort is to the town.
We rolled in just kind of at dusk to the Sun Place Hotel.
Yeah, it's a beautiful hotel right next to the lifts, which is super cool. Definitely was giving me some Whistler vibes, just a little village area. So I felt like I was home. This is actually my first time at the bike park here, and so I was definitely fired up to rip as many laps as I could.
For expectations, I mean, the riding here is already so good that I expected there to be really sick trails on the mountain in the resort, and there definitely was.
They have fully embraced mountain biking here. The Revelstoke Cycling Association is a lot of volunteer hours put into trails here at the resort, but also around town. And I would say it shows.
What
really surprised me the most was the trail fish bonkers. Super steep sections that were just deep enough that you're on the edge of your seat, but just enough that you're comfortable.
Oh yeah.
So sick.
Doing GoPro laps is funny because the last person just is eating dust. So a lot of dust was eaten at this park.
What? So good.
So many perfect jumps on these trails. The hips and whale tails and shark fins.
There's some wicked jumps that you definitely don't find in a lot of places. Some of the jumps, the lips on them, like these wicked, wicked steep takeoffs. It's awesome.
Yeah, Haley.
I heard about these trails, Endgame and Doomsday, and I was super excited to check them out.
Endgame. Doomsday's down here too. Like butter.
I didn't expect it to be like such an elevation drop once you're riding, and like, oh my God, it's like, it's long.
It was so hot that, you know, you kind of just had to keep moving. Dude, Revy's insane.
Unfortunately, right as we arrived here in Revelstoke, a heat dome also arrived. I think the temperatures in the morning were around 30 degrees Celsius, and then they just climbed.
My weather app said it was 37 degrees, and that's pretty friggin' hot.
It's been so hot in Revelstoke. They had to shut the lift down for 3 hours, but that didn't stop us from having a good time.
We needed to cool off after a hot day on the trails, so we headed up to the Columbia River. It's dammed up, and so it's slowed down in this one area.
We found a rope swing after a bit of bushwhacking. Everyone was trying to do their best moves, and yeah, my goal was just not to die.
Turn back the clock and watch the day unwind.
Ollie was being a backseat boy and yelling at us to start doing backies. I've never done a backflip, but he gave me some tips, and after like 4 or 5 tries, I got something that kind of looked like a backflip. I was pretty happy about that.
I'm doing just fine. I'm feeling alright. Walking through the city with the sun on my face.
We were lucky enough to be hosted by the Rockford restaurant right here in Revelstoke Mountain Resort.
The Rockford is super yummy, pretty like elegant in there. It was nice.
Perfectly out of place. I get where I'm going when I get there.
After Rockford, we went to play Frolf.
Super, super fun just to throw discs with your friends.
I'm living my life. I'm feeling alright. I'm feeling alright. So blessed.
Hiked up the mountain a little bit, and then, yeah, I think I ended up winning that one too. Go-kart, Frisbee golf. Jeez, man. You gotta tone it down a little bit.
Feeling alright.
Hey, it's Ollie Jones, and this is the Joey prank.
Alright, and we're off to the races.
I probably look pretty funny just pedaling around the way.
Why don't you get people to help you with your helmet strap, because you don't know how to do it up.
How's it going?
Good, yo.
Yeah, good, man. Yo, can you do me a huge favor?
What's that?
Could you help me do this up? I'm having, man, it's been a rough day, so I can't see it. Oh man, thanks so much, dude.
Tell him he's a handsome dude.
Dude, you're super handsome. What you doing? You live in Revelstoke now?
No, we're touring, little family tour.
Oh, dude. How's it going?
Not bad, how are you?
Dude, bike problems, man. Are you able to help me if we do this together?
No, I don't have time.
You don't have time to help a brother out, mountain bike brother.
Sorry, man.
Dude, is it because I'm not cool? Is it because I'm a Joey?
How about these folks right here?
I don't know, dude. He looks like a mobster. Is there any chance you could help me with something?
I don't know.
I can't do my helmet strap up. Oh, it's hot weather, eh?
Yeah. And you were going on a bike?
I'm going on a bike, yeah.
You must be crazy.
I am crazy. Absolutely.
Tighter?
Yo, real tight. Way tighter. Oh, that's a bit tight. Oh man, thanks so much, dude. I think I'm good. Thanks. Oh, one more thing. Are you able to help me with my shoelace? Oh man, thanks so much. I'm so bad with knots. Are we?
Too tight?
They're a little tight.
Tighter.
Oh, a bit tighter. Man, you're amazing, dude. Thanks so much. Can I have a hug? Like a nice brother hug? Thanks, man. Whoa, what a sweet setup you guys have got, eh?
Thank you, man.
Yeah, nice.
For real, I got no place to stay. Can I crash tonight?
But real talk, I don't have a place to stay tonight. You guys got room in the van or what?
No, we're actually full.
You got a toilet in there?
Yeah.
Really? Can I lay it down?
Nah, sorry.
Oh, dude, I thought us mountain bikers got to stick together.
Yeah, but not for smelly poop.
Well, I'll find another place to poop. Thanks, my man.
You should tell them it's a prank and point to the camera.
It was a prank, my man. Are you good if we use the footage?
But I know it's not true.
It's not true, okay. Well, there we go.
But if it is, you can use the footage.
Right here, on the balcony, second floor. You see the middle floor right there? You see them waving?
Oh, yeah.
It's for real, baby. My man. Loves it. Yeah, until next time.
So next day rolls around, lifts are spinning again. However, we had a very limited amount of time on the hill just because the heat was getting so aggressive during the middle of the day there.
We linked up with local shredder Casey Brown.
Hello, thanks for joining us.
You're very welcome.
What do we have in store?
We have a mountain bike trail that leads to more mountain bike trails. It is so sick.
And she brought along her friend David.
What's your name? Where are you from?
David, I'm from Argentina.
Pretty sweet to get some fresh talent, fresh blood, because everyone's getting a bit burnt out, I feel like. You know, the heat's blasting us, the bug's been blasting us.
Dropping in.
I can't believe how good it is for a bike park that's just a couple years old. We have like the best jumps, best like downhill loam, so rad.
Oh my God. Ride and pray, ride and pray.
I don't know what happened. Couldn't see anything.
So there's this perfect left-hander hip. You bomb down a little section of ski hill, hit a really tight right-hander, and then hit this perfect left-hand hip. And it just pops you so high and you have so much time.
I think one of my favorite parts of this whole trip is just how everyone gets down to a trail, finds a jump they like, and then we just stay there for about half an hour to an hour and we session it. We had Ollie throwing a 270 on the hip on Doomsday. That was super awesome.
Doomsday opened up last year. I would say that it's one of the best jump trails with the most variety of jumps that there is at any bike park.
There was this funny little like step up roller thing, and so we started to get a little weird on there.
I was doing heel clickers now, that mulch session at Big White coming through.
I felt that I needed to send something from the mulch onto dirt, so I hit the heel clicker, and I was really happy to get that. Oh, Ollie was doing some nasty scrubs, getting super low. Watching Ollie lay it down is it's next level in person.
Awesome to have Nick from Bicycle Broker, who's a sponsor of this series you're watching. He helped make it happen, so make sure to check Bicycle Broker out. Well, what are you gonna do for us now?
I'm gonna do a kickflip.
Mama sent a text, said she's so proud. I got big goals.
I finally took my no-footers to dirt. I don't know why I learned no-handers before no-footers, because no-footers were way easier to do.
Haley took some photos of David. David was kind of taking the lip to the left and landing on the high side of the landing. And Haley was in there with the fisheye, and they got so close together. And the photo is so sick. Like, you couldn't fill the frame with a biker that close any better.
It was awesome to ride with Casey here because, I mean, this is her home bike park.
It's a good spot to be, and it's not too busy. Like, I think it's a good balance.
So there's another infamous jump on Doomsday, and it's a massive step up. Once again, you come bombing down a left-hand corner, out of a shark fin, and then just into this huge booter. You get so much air.
Oh my God, that's a little exciting.
So if you've been following this series so far, you know Ollie took a digger in Whistler, flipping the Oakley hip. And I think throughout the whole trip, he's kind of wanted redemption.
Ooh, I had to get redemption after the Whistler experience. My hand is feeling a little better. It's almost healed. My wrist not so much, but I was determined to get the backy done on the last stop, you know?
No, he really wanted that backflip, so it was awesome to see him get the redemption.
Yeah, oh shit!
I hadn't landed and everyone was like, oh, and I was like, okay, slam the brakes on.
Fun, that's it.
Thanks.
I didn't know what to expect from David.
Oh my God, this dude shreds.
He comes along and it just boosts so high, and we're just like, well, now we have to adjust the frame because we're just cutting his head off.
Insane. Very good execution of the tricks.
They really kept the stoke going because someone was just like fully sending it.
Oh my God! Dude!
You got the legs out, man.
Dude.
It's engaging with like shark fins and nose bonk rocks.
Step up, step downs, drops, wall rides, everything.
Just when you think you're like, how could this trail get any better? You've got these two like legit dirt jumps with like short gaps, but just like stacked.
Yeah, we got some really good builders that came on board and like are super passionate about jumps and like having fun on your bike.
Of course, final day of the trip, and it pours rain.
Thunder, lightning, horrific rain, and as luck would have it, this was the day we planned to do our fan meetup. We also wanted to do a group ride, but the lifts weren't even spinning. It was just too much lightning in the air. We decided to still run the meetup because we know mountain bikers are fairly hardy people.
There's actually quite a bit of turnout considering the rain and how the gondola was closed anyways.
It was super cool to interact with people here in Revelstoke. Some people came all the way from like Edmonton and Calgary and Alberta. And one final plank off to finish off the trip.
Yeah, this is the last day of the trip. It's insane. I can't believe it's over. 20 plus days of road tripping with some good people, good friends, and it's all over, man.
It feels like a lot longer than 3 weeks, to be honest. I feel like I've been on the road for about 5 months. I think I aged about 10 years.
Pretty cool to get to ride all these bike parks and go to these resorts, stay in these great hotels and rooms, eat great food, laugh infinitely with friends and call it a job.
It's been like one of the best experiences I've had, I think.
Just having the group together and like just being able to do this and have the opportunity, that's kind of the highlight.
To ride nonstop every day, I mean, there's nowhere else I'd rather be and no other people I'd rather be doing it with.
I don't have that kind of focal range on this.
Being with the group and getting to know these people and bonding and just being out there having fun. Like there was something new every day.
Dude! No way!
Yeah, it really hurts.
How did you do that?
I learned so much. I had so much fun. I got to meet some really amazing people and work with them.
Ton of good times partying, ton of good times on the trails. All in all, this trip has been such a blast, a great way to spend 3 weeks of July.
The bugs are annoying, it was super crazy hot. We were nonstop working day and night, but we had lots of fun and I wouldn't have it any other way.
It's sad. We have the memories though, that's the thing. You can do all these sick trips and it would be even more depressing if you had no way to look back on them, right?
It was like just this like melting pot of minds and like good times and making fun shit.
Adios.
Goodbye, camera.
Thanks for being part of this.
See you guys.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
He's a big girl.
Road hog report. It's getting hard to see. This road has almost no lights on it, which is insane.